yeah, hey, yeah. Shout to day 43, yo, that's the OG. Hex, crypto, big payday, you gon' see. Yo, it's November 19, that's the day they predict. Every time I spit, I bring the craziest shit. Shout to day 43, yo, that's the OG. Hex, crypto, big payday, you gon' see. Yo, it's November 19, that's the day they predict. Every time I spit, I bring the craziest shit. Yeah. Okay.
Man, thank goodness.
Harder to justify what the hell we're doing here, man.
He's phony, she's fake. That's the type of people I hate.
Yo, y'all know the lyrics. Come on, sing with me. Shimmy, shimmy, y'all, shimmy, yam, shimmy, yeah. Give me the mic so I can take it away. Off on the natural charge, bon voyage. Yeah, from the home of the dog.
Man, it's unwrecked. Thank goodness.
What's going on, you filthy, filthy hexagons? It's 43 OG here with you on a chin. What's been going on? What's been going on? It seems from tweets that something might be going down very soon. Hey, be launching tomorrow. Might be. Don't know. Might not be. Might be 2 weeks away. So what's been going on, guys? Who have we got in the chat here? Who have we got in the chat? Let's have a look. Let me scroll back. Let's have a look. We got Mark G, T-Bird, what's going on? Dingo Wolf, Tony, Alan Fizz Ahmeh, Breton Eslick, Crypto GAINZ Club 369, Blobfish King, Ted DeFi. What's going on, fellas? Kaisa. Is that right? Kaisa? Stizzy Jones. Is that Stizzy Jones or Stizzy Jones? Steve Mac 1966. Day 43, that's me. What else have we got? Ash, Finbear. What's going on, Finbear? PLSX Mafia, Sandy Beach. What's happening, Sandy Beach? Is it Tigger? Tigre. What's going on? What's going on, people? Hey, I've got something that made me laugh out loud today, the other day when I saw it. I'll bring it up.
So would you guys rather have $1 Bitcoin or $100 cash right now?
$1 Bitcoin. Wait, what?
$100 cash.
A Bitcoin?
No, $100 cash.
No, you would want a Bitcoin.
That's 1 bit of a coin.
No, but that's like so much money you're talking about.
That's so much money. That's only one
$100 is nothing compared to a Bitcoin.
No, it's not. What are you talking about?
What are you talking
Like,
about?
I would rather take that.
Are you sure you'd rather take this than a Bitcoin?
Yeah, I'm sure. That's some big bucks. That's only one Bitcoin.
No. There's something wrong with you.
Literally, what's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you?
Bro, when I take the cash, like
Bitcoin.
only a Bitcoin.
You want Bitcoin?
A singular coin.
No.
You know what a Bitcoin is, right?
Yeah, it's like one coin.
Yeah.
I don't know what you. I don't know. It's. Oh, you're so stupid.
What do you mean you're stupid? I'm gonna take the cash.
All right, then take it.
You're gonna be broke.
Then
and
take
I'm gonna
it.
have cash. You're gonna have one Bitcoin.
That's hilarious. That's so funny. Oh man, I wonder if that was recent. I wonder if that's something you could forgive her if that was from like 10 to 12 years ago. You could forgive her. Is it fake? Is that fake? Really? Seems real. Still funny as fuck though. Hilarious. I've got a few things teed up tonight, but before we get started, shout out to all the cruise hexagons. Now, if this doesn't prove that the hexagon community is the best community in crypto, hands down the best community in crypto, I don't know what does. Like, hexagons get together, they have meetups, they have parties, and they go on cruises, guys. They go on cruises. Check this out. Let me see if I can find where is it? There it is. Can you see that? Let me see. Yeah. Check this out. Look at this crew going on a cruise. Just a bunch of hexagons enjoying themselves. A few familiar faces in there. Quite a few familiar faces. Look at, isn't that awesome? Well done, guys and girls. Well done, guys and girls. And well done to the people who have organised this, because things like this don't just happen out of thin air. This takes a lot of organisation, and yeah, well done. I'm not sure who did it, but whoever did do it, fantastic work. Fantastic work. Meanwhile, Melbourne, check out this guy. Look at what this guy's doing. Australian man takes hammer to surveillance. Yeah, this dude, he's had enough. He's had enough of the surveillance state of Victoria. And what else has been going on? Oh yeah. There was apparently in a French bank has released a CBDC. No, that's not me on the poll, T-Bird. I wish it was me on the poll. I have noticed that there are a lot of cameras in Melbourne. Everywhere, a lot of cameras. It's crazy. Yeah, you don't think twice before you put cameras in your own home. Especially if it's like you haven't done it yourself, like you haven't set up the network yourself. If you're relying on a third party to manage the service, I wouldn't trust that shit. Would not trust that shit at all, ever. Ever. If you're like doing a thing where you're using like open source software that you managing yourself on in a closed system, like not even connecting it to the internet, then yeah, that's something else. If you're just connecting to it when you get home, but otherwise, I wouldn't be trusting any of that shit that's out there, and having stuff in your house. No way. But yeah, I'll just getting back to this French bank. There's a French bank that's put together a CBDC, a euro pegged stablecoin, SG Generale. But apparently, from what I've been reading on Twitter, it sucks. So this guy is like the new euro pegged stablecoin from SG Generale, a French bank, has a function that allows to take all of your money. There's also a function that allows them to burn your money as well. Awesome. Just what you want. I mean, look, let's be honest. Any bank can freeze your money, right? They can freeze it. But, I think what we've got going in the DeFi land, in the DeFi space, is just a little bit better than that rubbish. This guy writes, France launched a stablecoin on Ethereum, and it's the worst code I've seen. Every ERC20 single transfer has to be approved in a separate ETH TX submitted by a centralized registrar. What a laughing stock. Is this your CBDC? Yeah, so it's not France, it's a bank. Pretty crazy, huh? So it's happening. Like it's starting. They're doing it. Like they're doing it in Australia. There's pilots happening in Australia. They're slowly going to us off cash, already happening with the ANZ. This is what is coming. We should be well aware that this is what's coming. This is what's coming. And they're going to push it. They're going to put it really hard. It's like, I don't know when, but I think it's coming, and it's probably coming sooner than any of us think. Okay. What else have we got? Yeah, so Gary Gensler, he's the head of the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission in the US, which in Australia, I guess the equivalent would be the ASIC, which has nothing to do with mining hardware. It's the Australian Securities Investment Commission. I think so. I think that's what it is. Yeah, so these guys, Gary Gensler has been under fire from Warren Davidson and others. They've been going hard at him, quite hard at him. A few of you probably saw some clips of, they were going pretty hard against him, and he was, not able to answer their questions. He was not able to answer the politicians' questions. I'm not sure if these guys were senators. I'm not sure if this was a Senate inquiry or what it was, but he was being asked questions and he was not able to answer them. He was not able to give clarity where it was weird to watch, because there was, I can't exactly which clip it was, but there was a clip where he was being asked to clarify, just straight out say whether Ethereum was a security or not. And he dodged the question. He was just like, completely dodging the question. But then I think in the same clip went on to say that it was very clear, like the rules were very, very clear. So word around the campfire, the Twitter campfire, is that Gensler's got to go. This guy's got to go. He's useless. He's useless. Not doing his job very well. And Warren Davidson tweeted these Gensler's 7 failures. Rule proposals by more than 2 weeks. Well, I'm not going to read through them. You guys can go find a tweet. But yeah, not looking good for that guy. Peter Sillage, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's like the head guy at Geth, I think. Small help, Geth master and v1.11.7 when it arrives switches the default DB, which is database, from level DB to Pebble. If you already have an existing data dir, it will continue to run whatever is in there. But if you run a fresh sync with no previous data, it will use Pebble, Ethereum. If your infrastructure relies on level DB for whatever reason, and you really, really want to make sure Geth sticks to it, you can add the db.engine equals level DB flag to your instances. Okay, I'm guessing this probably there's ramifications for PulseChain, maybe, or maybe not. I don't know, but I thought that was interesting. Yeah, so during the week, did you guys see the tweet from Alex from Hedron? Because he tweeted that he'd seen the highest of stakes. So I think it was him, RG3, and who else was there? The big Kurkowski. That's it. It's right in front of my eyes. They all got to see, I guess, the final version of it, and they all loved it. I am extremely jealous. I'm very, very jealous. I really want to see this shit. I'm not joking when I say, well, what do I want more? Do I want PulseChain launch, or do I want to see this documentary? I think I want to see the documentary more than, like, okay, so I think if PulseChain launched first, there'd be something for people to FOMO into, or just go out and say, hey, where can I get this guy's, if Pulse was already launched, people would say, hey. So I don't even know if Pulse is in there. I don't even know if Pulse is in there, because if Pulse was in it, like even they spoke about it, which I assume they would at some stage, they would have to mention it. How could they not mention that he's coming up with his own blockchain? Like he's forking Ethereum. How could they not mention that? So I feel like if there was something for people to go and buy immediately, and there's a working bridge, and people can just go from Ethereum, and they know, hang on a second, there's something for them to do immediately. Like just Ethereum bro watches it just to like laugh his ass off at the HEX community. They go, fuck it, let's just watch the HEX community. Let's just look at the HEX community and laugh at them, right? So they watch it, and then they see that there's this massive airdrop to all ERC20 holders, and they go and FOMO into it. So I feel like that would be. I feel like that would be the move. But from a personal, like what I would prefer, I want to see this documentary now. Like, no shit. If that documentary just came out on YouTube right now, I'm sorry, guys. I'm shutting this motherfucker down. I'm out. Like, fucking short Hex Late Show tonight. I would be out of here watching that. Oh, hey, I got someone in the green room. 1 second.
Hello, how you going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. Long time no see.
It's been ages. Your audio is perfect.
Yeah, it's my new lappy. It's pretty good, isn't it? Hey, everybody. Good to see everyone. What's been happening?
Yeah, it's been ages. It's been at least, I was saying that it's like it's been like a year since you've been on, or it's been a long time.
It has been. Hey, T-Bird, Claz, Ted DeFi, Dingo Wolf. Good to see you all. Oh my God, everyone's here. That's awesome. So what were you talking about? Highest of stakes?
I was just asking myself the question. I was saying that I think I would prefer to see, personally, I'd prefer to see the Highest of Stakes documentary immediately. Like I would just drop everything and go watch that now from a personal perspective. But I feel like if Pulse launched, people could just go in, like they would see it and then they could FOMO, they could just immediately go spend their money and get into Pulse, or go like find their PRC20 copies on PulseChain.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
that's why they're timing it to intertwine, so they have to, if they watch a movie, there's got to be somewhere they got to buy it. So it's going to be connected in some way.
What do you think they're going to do? Do you think that, what do you think they're going to come out with the documentary first? I'm dying for the documentary. I'm so like, I saw that there was a tweet, like I was talking about just before, there was a tweet from RG3 and Alex from Hedron that they saw like the final thing. Yeah.
Well, it's ready. The documentary's ready. Well, RG3 said he saw it, but there was no soundtrack. And then so Alex from Hedron paid the $5,555 for the VIP package, and he got to see the final product, and he got
no.
Yeah,
it wasn't 500. It was $55,000.
Was it?
Yep.
JD, my God, that's a lot of.
I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that shit. I think it might have. I think it. Yeah. Oh well. No, it's like he's like out there that the biggest. I think everyone knew that the biggest contributor was going to go get like this private viewing. But I'm jealous as fuck. I want to see that thing so bad. So bad. I'm going to send that to everyone I know. Every single person I've ever met in my life. If you've met me, I will be fucking sending you a message saying, watch this shit now. Off you go.
Did you watch the one with the Aussie guy? The scamdemic guy? Tom Gillespie? Did you watch that?
Know what? I'm a piece of shit. I haven't watched it.
Haven't you watched it?
I haven't. No. You know what? I meant to watch it. I meant to watch it. And then I don't know what happened. I've got to go watch it. I have to go watch it.
I'll send it over to you. I've sent it to like everyone I know. Like,
send me the link. I'll go pay for it. I want to pay it. I want to pay for it.
I'll send you the link and you can just pay. I paid for it too, and I got the free link as well. So it's for a good cause. But got to definitely support. Like, so much work and like hard work and effort goes into these productions, and Tom Gillespie, he did like a really good job. He did a really good job, and it was pretty funny from what people have told me. And, I
I've seen bits and pieces, like little clips and stuff, and from what I've seen, it looks funny as fuck. I've just seen some stuff, and so I'm going to go pay for it and go see it. But I want to see the new one. I want to see this new one.
Oh, this is the highest of stakes all like out. It's going to be massive compared to Tom Gillespie's, and the budget was like massive compared to Tom Gillespie's. So yeah, it's going to be really something special. I just hope they get listed on Netflix or, you know, something cool like that, or Stan or.
Yeah. It would be nice. I mean, I'm also just dying to know, that information. I'm just like very, very curious. Where's it? Because they've all got like NDAs, they've all got non-disclosure agreements, and they can't say a word about anything.
Oh, really?
That my understanding is they can't talk about it. They're not allowed to. They're actually not allowed to talk about it, like legally.
Yeah, fair enough. And just to answer Crypto Class a few, we're thinking about having a big PulseChain party after launch, approximately 3 to 5 months maybe after launch, a weekend in Sydney. So Friday night will be dinner, Saturday will be a harbour cruise, Sunday will be brunch, and then if you want to stay on, there's other things we can do. But there's heaps of hexagons from Sydney that want to help out, which is awesome. But this is for whole of Australia. This is for everyone to come from any state, come hang out and celebrate. So that's something we're thinking of doing.
That sounds awesome. Like, and that's the right amount of time. So like Friday night, Saturday night, that's like the right amount of time for a lot of people, you know? And did you hear it? There's a cruise happening at the moment with the,
the HEX cruise. There's 100 of them on a cruise line going to the Bahamas.
I think Bluey's on there.
Yeah, Bluey's on there. It probably doesn't have the internet on there because you've got to pay like a lot of money to have the internet on a cruise ship. So I don't know, but DJ Paulie Wood, he's on there, and he showed his clip on Twitter of his room, and he's got this big penthouse with a balcony, and he's got the drinks package. So they're having an awesome time. I'd love to be on it, but now it's 24-hour flight from Melbourne to Miami. That's a long ass flight, and then back for what, a 4-night cruise?
Yeah. I mean, in the bull market, everything's possible.
True.
But where we sit right now, we just it's not a good time to sell your HEX. I don't think it's a good time to be selling crypto.
It's not a good time to be on a cruise in the Bahamas if PulseChain launches and you're not at your computer.
Depends what your strategy is. You know, if your strategy is to sit back and do nothing, then it's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
You know, and hey, like there's a lot of people who, from what I can tell, there's a lot of people strategizing about what they should and shouldn't do. A lot of people looking at the testnet and like using that as a gauge for what they think could happen on Pulse with PulseChain when it launches. I mean, I don't know. I don't have enough experience with launches like this to know what may or may not happen. The only anecdotal thing that like a lot of people missed out on the Pulse sacrifice. So you would think like, so the people who sacrifice for Pulse probably also sacrifice for PulseX, you know?
I don't agree. And the fact that I watch Dollar Cost Crypto, I love Dollar Cost Crypto. He's freaking awesome. I had a little film clip that I sent to a few people saying that he knows a lot of people who didn't get into PulseChain and who sacrificed the PulseX for that purpose to swap over for PulseChain. But you think there's 41,000.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying, Sammy. I was saying that a lot of people who sacrifice for Pulse would have also sacrificed for PulseX, but not vice versa, because people people would have missed out on Pulse and then gone, oh, I'm going to get PulseX and then just swap my shit for Pulse. So yeah, no, I agree with that, man. I agree with that.
You know, also, I mean, if PulseChain had 41,000 odd wallets, right, you got to think most hexagons are like greedy for their airdrop. So possibly that's only 20,000 people. So I know that 6 of those wallets were mine. So if you think there's 41,000 sacks, think we're hexagons. So you got to at least reduce that to 20,000. So, and there's a lot of them.
Do you think like, what about, because didn't you get a better, don't you think most people would have just sacked from one wallet because of the advantage of sacking from one wallet? Because there was actually like an advantage, like the way the points worked. If you sacked from one wallet, you were like, you were higher up on the ranks of how many points you would get. Like the return, you would get like more a multiplier because you were higher up in the rank.
Yeah, you would have had a mother wallet, right? So it means you got those bonuses. But everyone else thought like Motley Investor and the MetaMask airdrop, I'm going to make 100 wallets just for that $20 sack. So just for airdrops, you know. So a lot of people sacked less than $500 out of that 40,000, those 40,000 wallets. I've got the numbers here if you want to get them up. Yeah, me and my mate Jordan, he's from Melbourne. Hi Jordan, if you're watching, he's my Hexagon mate. We always have these grouse conversations about PulseChain and PulseX and what's going to happen and get really bullish. All right. So PulseChain, there's a 41,411 total sacrifice wallets. Now 28,421 of those wallets sacked between $1 and $2,500. That's 28,000 of those wallets sacked between $1 and $2,500 grand. And there's only 12,930 put in more than 2K.
And the vast majority of the big sacrifices were in the top 100, like the top 20.
Yeah,
like really big sacrifices. That was for Pulse, right? So that was for Pulse.
PulseChain, PulseX.
Yeah, and so many people found out about it and had missed out. Do you remember there was a period of time when, like like, you know how the way it worked was that the more time went on, the worse points deal that you got. But like as time went on, people were still sacrificing because they found out you could still sacrifice, but they were just getting really, really shitty deals.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people were chomping at the bit just to sacrifice for another Richard Hart project. And when PulseX came out, they had that opportunity and they did that, but they did that knowing that they missed out on Pulse. So I fully agree. I think that there's going to be it's going to tip. Like it's probably going to tip in that direction, but we don't. But you know, the thing is about crypto, when everyone believes something, it doesn't always happen. But I mean, this one seems like it's a no-brainer. It almost seems like a no-brainer that it's just people are going to throw money at Pulse.
Yeah.
But then is it going to cut? Like, is it going to go too far and then come back? I mean, who knows? And can I ask you, have you played around with version 4 testnet?
Yeah, just very briefly. I didn't go to the bridge or anything. I just checked my balances and just did like some basic stuff. Didn't go into much detail. Why do you ask?
Oh, just out of interest. I mean, I haven't had the chance to play with it, but I know that they took the same fork point as with version 3. So all of the ERC20s, the number of all that stuff would have been exactly the same. It's just now they had this. What did they do? I read this maybe a couple of days ago. What did they actually do? They changed something. for version 4. If you know what I'm talking about in the chat, please write it, because they changed something for version 4. They did something specific.
Wasn't it just for the validators? It was something for the validators.
Yeah, that's it. You're right. Yeah. 100%. That's what it was. It was for the validator yield. They changed the validator yield on version 4. So yeah. That's it.
So how many validators are there going to be? 43. How many, like, do you know of? I mean, I saw 4,000, 5,000.
I think there's going to be shitloads. I think there's going to be loads and loads and loads of them.
Well, there was a dude at the Melbourne meetup who's running 75 nodes just from him. He lives on the farm, you know.
75?
75 nodes. What's his name again?
He's running. He's going to run 75. He's going to run 75 PulseChain nodes.
Yeah, Abdul. That was his name.
Ah, that's awesome.
And he lives on a farm in somewhere in Melbourne.
How does he run his validators off methane?
I don't know, bro. I don't run validators. I'm not getting that involved in it.
75. Good job. Good job. Well, I mean, they're not. You're not mining, so it's not.
I don't even know too much about it. I haven't looked into it. I think Claz might be looking into it, and I know another Scarlet Rose is looking into it. 2 chicks, Mexican chicks that I know of, but
if they make, I think they look. I'm sure. Like, I'm sure Claz and HEX can get that done. I'm sure they can get that done.
Easy street.
You know?
So you know how I said there was 41,000 wallets for PulseChain? There's 136,174 for PulseX. That's like
how many?
136,174 wallets for PulseX. And again, we've got to halve that because like 7 of those are mine.
I don't understand what I guess if all of, like, you're adding them all up, I guess it yeah. Whether it may make sense not to combine all the wallets. Look, it may not make much difference. I guess it depends where you would have ended up on the ranking to know, like, how much difference it would make.
Well, you know what's funny about that is 67,304 wallets of those sacked between $1 and $500.
Was that 28,000? Did you say?
67,000.
67,000
of those total 136,000 wallets sacked between $1 and $500.
So there's just so many. It's so bottom. The tail is so.
Yeah.
The tail is so long on that thing.
But do you think it could represent a good swapping opportunity? I mean, I don't know how it works when Richard launches. Obviously, there's the bots haven't made the dollar's value on the cryptos. You'll be able to swap certain cryptos for other cryptos. And on Testnet, it was showing at one point, I think one pulse was 67,000 PulseX, which obviously that's BS. But, you know, I mean, if you got a 1 to 3 or a 1 to 5 or more, that's a pretty good deal because you're basically, you know, 3xing or more out the gate. What do you think? What do you think will happen?
This is pure speculation. If someone had a gun to my head and said, you have to tell me what you think's going to happen, I would say, I think that when it launches, I think people with PulseX are going to want to buy Pulse. They're going to want to swap some of their stack for Pulse. I think the ratio will go like you know, maybe 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, maybe it could go some, it may not, but you know, maybe 1 pulse to 2 or 3 pulse X, and then once it stretches out that way, it might come back a bit. Because pulse will, compared to, like, because do you know where it started out for version 4?
Nah, I wasn't paying that much.
It depends where. Yeah, look, it all depends as well where, like, what ratios of liquidity start at. Like the liquidity. So you're gonna have PulseX, the exchange, and then people are gonna go, like, immediately when it launches, people can commit liquidity to it. So there's going to be a PulseX liquidity pool. Like someone will create it, or it's like or it will be created. I don't know what's going to happen, but someone's going to create that. Someone is going to create that, and you know, there's going to be fees that people make. I think a lot of people are going to be. PulseX is going to be about liquidity, people providing liquidity. So it's going to be fascinating to watch what happens. It's going to be fascinating to watch. We're going to have stuff, like, interesting stuff to talk about. And then you've got all the other stuff as well. So you've got, like, we're not even talking about HEX. We're just talking about Pulse and PulseX. But what about HEX? Like, do you think there could be people who missed out on Pulse and PulseX, and then they're like, well, I missed out on both of them. I might as well just buy HEX, because HEX would say HEX is probably the next best. If you've missed out on the other one, HEX is the best option, right? Because it's in that ecosystem, it's in the ecosystem, and you would think that there'll be HEX Pulse pairs, so you would very easily then be able to swap HEX into Pulse and HEX into PulseX. So
I think that's going to be an advantage before the market maker comes in and sets dollar value, because thinking of the bridge and thinking what pairs will be available to ratio trade, I don't think they're going to list everything there to do that. Do you? I think it'll possibly be PX, EX, maybe a stable coin.
Well, hang on. So when you say PX, EX, so do you think that there's going to be, like, so you're going to have HEX and then you're going to have the bridged version HEX? Is that what you mean? Like a wrapped, like a HEX from another chain, like a bridged HEX?
Yeah, so once the fork happens, and Richard said that you can swap, you can ratio trade, it's going to have to be available. You're going to have to have your PHEX, you're going to have to have your EHEX.
But there's before the bridge is launched, there's not going to be a bridged version over yet, because that would give it value, right? So I don't think it's going to launch like that, because I think they're saying they want it to launch at zero value, so we all don't have, like, a tax bill. So, like, if it launches with a value, if it's already, like, in a liquidity pool with a bridged token, then it's going to there's going to be a value derived from that. So I think what we can expect is there to be no bridge tokens, and then as soon as that bridge opens, we're going to see, like, value being derived. Before then, it's just going to be ratios. And who knows? Your guess is as good as mine. Logic would tell me that because so many people missed out on Pulse, that it's going to get, Pulse is going to get bought up in like early.
Oh yeah, that will happen.
That's what tells it. But I don't know if that's right. I mean, what if people turn around and say, "Hey, we're not going to buy Pulse at the start because we anticipate a dump once it gets brought up. Like, I don't know what it's hard.
It's going to get brought up. It's going to be eaten up like there's no tomorrow, which is awesome for PulseChain holders.
I think so. I think that is what the, and then it might come back, and then it might come back after that happens. Like, isn't that? I mean, it depends how hard people go into it, but generally, I mean, if it starts going crazy, like straight lines up, people start. It's the markets. If people do like X's, if people do multiple X's, they're going to sell some. They're going to sell some. It's just like the market does what it does. And then if people are selling it, it will come back.
You got your big dumpers. Remember in HEX we had those big ass dumpers. So we had big ass dumpers that dumped the shit out of it, and we're going to have those in PulseChain. We're going to have people who over leveraged, who are just waiting so they can sell it because they might have debt to pay off. And we're just going to have people that just bought the rumor to sell the news. So we're going to have, people like that we had in HEX that are going to sell the price down, and they might be really big players too.
There could be some interesting opportunities, but I really have a game plan. I've got a general idea, but it's contingent on what, if I see certain things happening, then I'll be like, might be time to pull the trigger.
Yeah,
might time to pull the trigger on a trade or something. But it depends. If it happens the way I think, if things don't happen the way I think they're going to happen, and it's too volatile and too unpredictable, then I'm going to not get it. The last thing I want to do is make some hasty choices in the heat of the moment, or in ratio trading, when why? There's no need to do that, in my opinion. But I have a feeling there's going to be some opportunities. I have a feeling. What about you? Are you hanging out?
Game on. It's game on for me. 43.
Have you planned?
Yeah, there's so much going on in here. I'm so anxious about PulseChain. It's not even funny anymore. Every time people, I can't even look at Twitter. Anxious because I've got this game plan in my head. And of course, like you, it depends on a lot of things, what's happening. But I've got so many things that I want to do that I'll be sitting here watching all day and all night. I'll be watching what's happening. But you know what? Like anyone else, the best thing, I mean, I listen to my friend Summy. He's awesome. If you're watching Summy, hello. But, he was right. He said, at launch, the best thing you can do, one of the best things you can do is just sit there, do nothing. Just watch what's happening. For me, I'm listening to all their alpha and, listen to all the big streamers. And, I think, that ratio trading might benefit a PulseChain holder if it's going to go crazy. For me, if I can get 3, 5, 10x out the gate, I'm getting it. But you got to be quick, and you got to be watching the markets. You got to watch what's happening. But do you think there will be a bit of a liquidity crisis in HEX before launch when everyone starts pulling out their liquidity?
Well, it doesn't make sense to have for any liquidity. If you're in the HEX ecosystem, it really, and you care about maximizing what you can get. It may not. I mean, it depends. Depends how big you are. It's different. It's different for everyone. Really, really big, ETH people probably aren't going to care that much if they miss out on maximizing the fork. And that means they probably aren't going to get rid of their big bags of ETH just to get a little bit more on Pulse, because Pulse is unproven. But the small players might be I need to maximize every thing I'm going to do. So I'm going to keep my ETH holdings low and be in ERC20s that I think, are going to have a future on PulseChain. So the question is, which ones are they going to be? Right? That is the obvious question. Which tokens are likely to do well on PulseChain? So I think we can say without much doubt, and once again, we don't know for sure, but I think we can say, we don't know for sure, but I think we can say that HEX is going to be well supported by hexagons on PulseChain. Like if you just look at Twitter, if you just look at the streams, listen to what people are saying in chat rooms, just read what they're writing in chat rooms, you will come to the conclusion that people are going to be supporting the HEX token on PulseChain. So that means people are going to see it as valuable. It's going to have value on PulseChain. I would extend that to any of the tokens which are built on top of HEX, such as, the Hedrons, the Icosas, all of the Maximus token, tokenized stakes, like you can buy. Like I have a friend who, I've been onboarding like crazy, by the way, but I had a friend today who wanted to stake, but it was a smaller amount. And I'm like, it was not a big amount. It was just not a big amount. And I was just like worried. I'm like, dude, on Ethereum and stakes, they're going to murder this stake completely. They're going to completely murder this stake. So I said, but he really, really wanted to stake. So I said, and he didn't want to do, he just wanted to do like a shorter stake. And I said, dude, just buy, like there's the base token, which is like it's a Maximus token, but it's on top of HEX. It's actually a HEX stake. And it's a token. And then at the end of when the token matures, you can claim the HEX from the stake, your percentage of the HEX from the stake with the yield from that. And that's in like 5 months, the end of that stake. So he just, because it was a smaller amount, I just said, just buy some of them. It's better for you because it's like, that's going to be, I believe that's going to have like the community behind it on PulseChain as well as on Ethereum. And at least on the Ethereum side, when that comes due, you're not going to be crying because the end stake fee is like $300 or $400, because we don't know what in 5 or 6 months, like what if Ethereum is like $6,000?
It could be.
So an end stake might an end stake from maybe the first year of HEX might cost $1,000.
Well, I ended a decent sized stake about a month ago, and it cost me about $150, $160. And then I got like a HEX 555. Then I had like a tiny little crappy stake that I had for 2 years. And it was going to cost me like $150. I'm like, no way, hell no. It's going to bleed out.
I don't think the size of stake matters as much as the days of computation that need to be done to work out how much yield that you're entitled to. So if you have a really big stake and a really small stake, and they're both 1,200 days old, I think, I don't know in detail like what the code says, but I think that like they're going to cost a lot. They're both going to cost a lot just because the contract has to go and calculate all those days, has to like go and work it out, and that takes a lot of and that's what PulseChain is here to fix for us.
Is it
I don't think we're going to have that problem.
with those huge fees for end staking and staking, or do other staking platforms, other tokens experience that same huge price that we're experiencing?
I think the end state, like staking, I don't think is that expensive. Like just doing the stake, I think that's pretty cheap. But ending the stake is very expensive. Whether other staking platforms have that issue would be entirely dependent on what sort of calculations they need to do at the end of that stake, like what contract call, like what needs to happen, what questions, what maths needs to be done. And with HEX, it needs to do calculations need to be done for every single day since the stake was made. So that's a lot. And that used to not cost a lot. I know,
right?
And then they changed the rules, and Ethereum went from like $80 to $4,800.
True.
Like, so there's that as well. Like it did a 60x, and then they also upped the price. Like, I don't know what they upped the price. I think it was like 10 or 12x up the price of just how much it costs to do these things. So, at the height of the the bull market, you could say like, it was a lot more. And it's so much that people, you got to bear in mind, do you remember at the beginning, people were doing they were doing stakes every day.
Yeah.
They had like 1 day stakes.
Mm-hmm.
They had like staking ladders that were like every day. And I remember seeing there were these like staking ladders that people would post in the chat rooms that were beautiful. They were just beautiful. Do you remember them? And they were just like these curves of, but they were like daily stakes, and they weren't huge amounts. They were like, I can't remember, like people were staking like small amounts. And what's interesting is that on PulseChain, if those people still have those stakes, they're going to be able to actually end stake them on Pulse. So that's interesting. That like that adds a whole new dynamic,
It does. And do you think that those Ethereum fees will attract the bigger players to HEX?
I think that only the bigger players will want to play on Ethereum. I think that like they'll want to play on Pulse as well. Why wouldn't they? If it has value, why wouldn't they? I mean, there's no reason not to. But on Ethereum, it's not viable to do small, to be playing around with small amounts. It's not viable at all. But I wonder what effect this is. I can't help but think it's going to result in less smaller things happening on Ethereum. And all the shorter, not just shorter, but also smaller stakes, like all happening on Pulse. So that's going to have an effect on the T-share rate, which, by the way, is over 27,000 hex per T-share. It went over 27,000 hex per T-share the other day. It's crazy.
Not cheap.
It started at 10,000.
Yeah.
People, do you understand how quickly the T-share rate is going up? It started at 10,000. Not even 4 years ago.
When HEX first launched, was it 5,000 people that were in? 5,000 stakers? Did we start with 5,000? I don't know if anyone in chat remembers, but I've heard a rumor it was 5,000. Now there's 121,000. And also believe, well, that's a big difference from PulseChain and PulseX wallets. That's a lot more people at launch.
Yeah, a lot more people. And I think a lot of, like, there's a lot of people who were happy to get into Pulse, but they weren't happy to get it. They didn't want to get into HEX. I think ultimately, like, a lot of the people who didn't get into HEX will eventually come over to HEX. I think they'll see the benefit of not constantly looking, trying to trade like this and that. Just like you lock up your tokens, or you burn your tokens, and then at the end of the time, whenever it is, you come back and just get the yield. It's just like less stress, because, I mean, I hate to think what my crypto journey would look like if HEX didn't exist. I'd hate to think of what it would look like.
Or even Richard Hart. Whoa. But you know what? If PulseChain goes nuts and goes crazy, that's also good for HEX. I know me as a Hexican, if I make some decent coin, you know where I'm putting it? Back in a HEX. Because it's too good. This HEX is just too good to make yield. Even in a bear market, it's amazing. So that's where I'll be putting my money. So it's really good that we got PulseChain.
Not yet. Tomorrow, apparently. Did you see that tweet from Richard Hart?
People go crazy over the smallest things. Like Richard writes an ordinary comment, and then all these conspiracy theorists come in and goes, oh, no, he means this, he means that. It's like, come on, lads. Don't be stupid.
We're grasping at straws. We're trying to, we've been so focused on it for so long that we're just trying to, we're coping. It's copium.
Hello, how are you?
How are you, Sammy? I haven't been on a stream with you for years.
I know, it seems like that. How you going, Jax?
You're going really well. You've sorted out all your tech?
Yeah, I've got my new laptop. It works a treat.
Cool.
I can even put a background on it as well. It's amazing.
Perfect. So you'll be a little bit more of a regular feature now.
Yeah, I'll try and pop in. You know, my kids are growing up. Got one that I have to take to work and drop off, and yeah, but I'm gonna try and pop in and say good day. So I still, I try to watch as much as I can and love everyone in chat. It's always good to say hello to everyone. Just watch you guys, listen to the alpha, and learn.
Cool. Are you still doing your ladies' discourse? How often are you doing that?
Yeah. It's just once a month still, which is good. Cool. And we get some new blood in every now and then, so it makes it a little bit more exciting and just talk HEX Pulse. Yeah, it's really cool.
Do you think you'll be able to coax H out from his cave to come on a stream with you guys? Usually jump on a stream with the ladies.
Well, we did. We tried to get him. We sent him a message. Me and Serena Alonzi sent him a message a couple of months ago, but he hasn't replied. Usually that means he's just super busy or he's just not reading his messages. So
can't imagine what he'd be busy.
But Class has been coming on Discourse, Ladies Discourse too. It's been awesome to have her. She's so clever and lovely. So we love having you, Class, and can't wait to see you on our Saturday.
Had a few West Aussie Hexicans step up and get behind the mic and get on the live streams, which is good.
Yeah,
we all like to do our part over this way.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to meet you guys. I was just saying, Jex, that after PulseChain launch, we're going to have a big launch party in Sydney.
Sure.
So
Sydney. How did it end up in Sydney? Hang on. Take a step back. We need to have a vote on this.
Bro, don't even... Bro, this is the most ridiculous argument that you people from West Australia make all the time. It's ridiculous. Don't even try.
No way in hell I want it over here. I'd rather go on a holiday.
Yeah, you're going to come bring the family. We're going to have an awesome weekend. It'll be a 3-day thing, I think, for now. And, yeah, all the Sydney Hexicans are going to help out. And Sydney's just beautiful. circular key is just amazing on a beautiful day. Just the energy and the views are just amazing. You're gonna love it. So yeah, everyone scribble it in your diary. We don't know when, but we'll try and give 3 months plus notice.
There's a restaurant in Sydney that it's a famous restaurant, and they're famous for like doing these huge, like full plate size chicken schnitzels. I'm trying to think what the name is.
Yum.
Una's. Yeah, Una's? Maybe Una's. If you're from Sydney and you know what I'm talking about, just let me know. I think it's Una's, and they just do these huge chicken schnitzels. It's like a German themed. So it's like beer and chicken schnitzels and people in shorts and gumboots dancing.
Beautiful. I love that scenery.
All right. So that's where we're having the get together then. Mega schnitzels.
Why not? We're hoping to do a harbour cruise on the Saturday. So that would be a little bit of fun.
Yeah. Cool. I don't think you should write off Queensland. That's not a bad spot.
Yeah, it's lovely, especially the Gold Coast. It's amazing. But Sydney Hexicans are pretty active and they're pretty keen to help. So, and I love Sydney. So, I mean, we're happy, but it's up for discussion. Anyone who wants to have a chat about that, we're cool. We can do whatever. It's not set in stone.
Yeah, no, I think it's about time we got our shit together as Aussies and coordinated a decent get together with everyone. So we're all spread through every corner, so it'd be good for everyone to come together.
Absolutely. It'd be so much fun to meet everyone in person.
Speaking of community, I don't know if you guys are aware or whether you get the feeling about what's happening from being on Twitter. Everyone's really stepping up from the validator side of things to support the network. I've been fielding that many questions and DMs with guys that they want to get the hardware, they want to get set up, or they need help configuring it. So everyone is really, really stepping up. Guys that are not even really technical are putting their hand up and want to have a crack. So they've got a bit of a learning curve ahead of them. But it's good to see that everyone wants to participate, and the support that everyone's giving. It's like back in the beginning of HEX where everyone was partnering up with each other and helping out and really giving and just wanted to see it all succeed. So it's really positive to see that that's still alive. And people that you thought had walked away from the community, we're talking about Groovy staking ladders, Bree, that was one of Bree's creations, running up validators now and been helping her put that together. So there's, it's good. You think people have just sort of faded away, but they're still around, they're still engaged, and they're still putting in the work. So that's really, really good to see.
Awesome. How many validators do you reckon there's going to be, Jex?
A buttload. So put it this way, I can run one node, and on that one node, I can run 100 validators. So that's just me. It comes down to how much pulse you've got to stake. That'll be the limiting factor for everyone, is how much they want to put on the table in terms of the stake. But there's going to be no shortage of validators. So I know some of the guys, they're already firing up with 100, 200 validators and things like that. So we're not going to have a shortage. So you've got to I get there's a difference between nodes and validators. So like I said, one node can run 100 plus validators. So you just got to, when you see the validator number, you need to sort of take that into account as well. That one machine could be running multiples.
It makes sense. I mean, it makes sense because it's separated now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like execution and consensus. Like it's two separate things.
Yeah. So it's been awesome for me from a learning perspective. Like you hear terms like the merge and all that, and you go, yeah, it's the merge. But I never actually truly understood from a technical level, what they'd actually done. But when you start running these nodes, you've got to get your head around it and why and what the Shanghai upgrades about and how that pieces together and things like that. So it's just good to get a better understanding of not only what's happening on Pulse, but how Ethereum works as well. So it's been really good from a learning point of view. But yeah, I think
you've been putting your scripts up. You've got a script for the. Have you heard any news on the DAppNode stuff?
I haven't. I
Do you think they're still working on it, or did they give up?
I don't know. You're best just to pipe in every now and then and hit Alex or Hamish up and see how they went with it. But even without the DAppNode scripts, and it's not hard. Like you can fire one of these up pretty simple now. There's some really good. My script is just a list of all the commands you need and explanations and things like that. But then you've got other guys that have literally done like proper scripts where you just push a button and it takes you through the whole process and configures everything as you're going. So that's when I say mine's a script, mine's a cut and paste sort of script. Other guys have actually automated it. So if you don't want to understand how it all works, but you just want to get a validator up and running, you could do it in probably 30 minutes. Whereas I've probably taken a little bit different sort of approach.
What about the syncing? Like what's going on with the syncing? Because I haven't done it yet. Yep. I just haven't had time. It's you need to devote a little bit of time to it.
If you want to understand what's going on, you need to at a technical level, and you want to be able to troubleshoot. That's when you need to understand a little bit about what's going on, because you can see all the messages flying past, but if you don't know what it means, then you're going to be a little bit stuck. But yeah, like I said, if you just want to fire something up and you're not too worried about the technicals of it, the scripts are there to do it. And I think maybe that's not a bad way on Testnet to do that, and then actually start to learn a little bit about each component and what it does. But yeah, get in there and have a crack, guys. The yields are going to be pretty sweet. So at the moment, I think we're sitting around circa 20%. And I think at last count it was 4,000 odd validators, but understand the team is running a lot of those. So much like HEX staking, if the team pulls back a little bit and stops running those nodes, as it organically grows and we get more of the community doing it, then I think that yield could be sustainable for a little while.
So, Jex, I know that in the dev chat, I see you in there a lot. I've been spying on a little bit.
Oh, you've been lurking, have you?
I have been lurking. I don't say anything, but I just lurk. And I know that because a couple of guys that I chat to, there's a few things they had to put onto the PulseChain testnet for, like, for example, commas, little things like that. Some things are missing dollar values, whatever. And there was a bit of a list. But that's reducing, isn't it? So what would you say? How many things are left?
You've caught me on the hop. I see that message pop up every day, and I've got to the point where I just ignore it now. So I haven't read it recently. But anything that was on there was pretty tiny. Like I got away from the original question. I'll go back to that, the syncing side of things. So the answer is I'm not sure, Sammy, but I don't think it's a major list. On the syncing, that took me, not going to lie, I had a few issues when I fired mine up the way I had it configured. I think if you're allowed 24 hours, you would be pretty much in sync. I made the mistake of putting my validated deposits in before I was in sync and thinking it was going to sync up pretty quick, and took I think by the time I sorted out my issues, it was probably 3 or 4 days. So I actually lost a bunch of pulse because I was sitting there. My validators were supposed to be attesting to blocks, and they weren't. So I was getting cut. So the same reward you get when you attest to a block, that's also where you get penalized if you skip it. So I was actually, I'd actually lost a bit of pulse, but give it a 3 or 4 days and it'll build up.
Test pulse.
Let's not get dramatic.
Yeah. Hey, it feels valuable to me.
You're sort of like the right state. You don't want to be like, it doesn't matter. You don't want to have that state of mind. I know. You want to be like, yeah. Even
for me, I'm treating it like, okay,
like it's
definitely now's the time to learn. So it doesn't matter if you make these mistakes, and now's the time to make them all. But yeah, I still hate seeing that balance go down. You want to see it going the right way. But yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Once they're up and firing, they're all synced. It's I really just check in every now and then and make sure it's doing its thing, and it has been, touch wood, it's been pretty seamless once I got all the quirks sorted out. So yeah, it's if you're in any way interested, put your hand up and jump in the chat, because there's heaps of people helping out.
Which chat?
That's the Pulse Dev one.
Pulse Dev.
Yep, I think it's Pulse Dev. That's the right one, isn't it, Sammy? That's what it's called.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get the link and post it in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, don't go bombarding that one if you're not planning on doing something of a technical nature, because obviously you don't want heaps of people in there that aren't sort of contributing. It just gets a bit messy. We had that with one of our other groups. So yeah, if you've got a genuine interest, jump in there, and everyone's super helpful. It's like having a 24-hour support channel, because there's always someone who's awake, and if I go to bed, then someone else will be in there answering questions. So yeah, it's really, really good. It's great to see everyone come together again.
Is the version for ramp bridge working? I haven't a couple of days.
Once again, I've seen the link go out. I haven't tested it. Yeah, I've been focused on other things. I know there's plenty of other guys that were doing that sort of testing. So yeah, but I assume it's all good. Haven't heard otherwise.
Do you think Pulse is? Do you think it's going to launch tomorrow, like that tweet suggested? I'm actually the tweet. I'm reading a lot. I'm reading a lot.
That's a stretch. Yeah. Everyone
why would tomorrow be an awesome day? Like the best day. Why?
It's always better to be alive tomorrow.
Say that tomorrow is going to be an awesome day. Where's the tweet?
You always want to be alive tomorrow.
This is correct, but like, where's that tweet? I need to find that tweet.
That's what I was in context. It's just taking that way out of context.
I don't think it's launching tomorrow.
Hey, if it does, happy days.
Yeah, bonus, but I don't think it will.
Yeah, like the network seems pretty good. I haven't seen any. I've been running a few transactions and stuff. Haven't been heavily using it, but haven't had a single failure or hiccup or anything like that on my end. So it seems to be doing everything it's supposed to do. The comment from Brett was the thing they're monitoring is they want to see how many nodes fire up and how all that goes. So I guess they may have a certain number in mind where they're looking to see it reach that critical mass of the community actually supporting the chain, and then maybe they'll go.
Okay, let me bring up this.
Cool.
Okay. There we go. Contrary to the popular belief, we are not doomed. This is statistically the best time to be alive ever. Perhaps tomorrow is the best. So why wouldn't anyone who follows Richard Hart think that's got to do with Pulse?
I think he's just saying you'd rather be alive tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes.
I agree. Jack.
I don't think you guys are helping me enough with this fan fiction theory. I think you guys need to help me.
I can buy into it for you if you want.
we need to make this this an exciting time.
We went through that period.
It could be that it launches tomorrow, right?
Yeah, at one point, remember when everyone thought everything Richard said, there was something cryptic buried within the tweet?
Conspiracy theorists.
Yeah. Hey, I'm all for it. I'm not going to complain if an announcement does come out.
I've got a clip from. It's actually you only hear him talk, but it's Adam Stokes, who to his show. I think he's quite an intelligent commentator in the space. He's also, I think he's also a Hexagon.
Definitely.
I think he's also sacrificed for Pulse.
I'd say definitely.
I don't know his affairs, but I assume that he has because that he talks about it enough. And he does also talk about stuff to do with. He did a stream like a short 20-minute stream like maybe a week ago. It was pre-recorded, I think, and it scared the shit out of me because he made the case, a very strong case for why war is coming, and it's like fuck, dude,
nasty.
Why are you saying this? But like it's like he made a very, very good case for it, and it's like it scares the shit out of me. Like
scares everyone. 43. I try to pay no attention to it because I really don't have a lot of time for it. It's sad, it's there, but
no, you can't bury that sort of stuff, mate.
No, he was just saying, look, just make sure. Like he wasn't being alarmist. Like it wasn't that. He was just making the case that maybe it's not a terrible idea to have, some access to some water. Like maybe it's not a terrible idea to have some extra bit of food, things like that. Like that. But look, this is the clip I'm going to play is not about that stuff. It's just
and he's in Australia, yeah. So
yeah. He's interviewed. He's in, I think he's in Australia. I mean, I don't know, but he's interviewed Richard like 2 or 3 times. But what he says here is like bullish for crypto. What he's saying in this clip.
Market goes ballistic. I can remember when we were waiting for.
Oh, and by the way, just in case you missed it, this is Adam Stokes. He has his own YouTube channel. He's a crypto commentator, a very good one. Probably the best Australian crypto commentator, in my opinion.
The entire crypto market cap to go over $1 trillion. Well, we've had in the last cycle, Bitcoin itself go over $1 trillion and the entire market cap of crypto go well over $2 trillion. My prediction, the next bull run, you will see many, many, many more trillions pour into the market. And if you think that sounds crazy, you need to grasp how much money is in the world. There is so much money in the world. It's just distributed very poorly. You're not seeing a lot of it. The majority of it is right at the top. Not the top 1%ers, but the 0.00001%ers. They've got the big money. But even they want to start putting some of that money into these markets. And you only need 1% of all of this money that we can't see come into the crypto land, just 1%, and you're going to see the crypto land go absolutely ballistic. We've seen it before, we'll see it again. It's just that every cycle, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And as we move from speculation to utility, which is what genuinely is happening in crypto, where we're moving from something that is, I'll put some money into this and just get a Lambo because magic internet funny money, to, hey, you know what? We actually have technology to do many things. In its simplest form, move value from point A to point B, but in its most complex form, supercomputers, smart contracts, and new ways of doing business that everyone, if not the majority of the world, will be moving into.
Yeah,
bullish.
And I think the MICA legislation got passed in the EU. I think it was today or yesterday as well. That was.
Well, he's gone. He's back.
What's the EU?
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. I just bombed out.
What did you say? Oh, I think Jexer.
He's got to get Starlink.
Jexer's getting.
He's going to get Starlink because in WA they're like in the middle of nowhere.
Jaxie, you're getting DDoSed. You're getting DDoSed, brother. They're onto you.
Do you know what he was talking about? Interesting.
I was actually reading something else, so I wasn't paying full attention, which I do way too much on the show. I'm like reading.
I do the same thing. I get caught out.
I read out, and then people have been talking for 5 minutes. Like, huh? What were you
And
saying?
then you've got to try and you can't join back in the conversation. Yeah, no. So in the EU, they just passed it got voted in. It was a crazy sort of vote where I think it was like 500 to 36 in favour of passing this MICA legislation, which is all about just a framework for crypto. And I think, and although you sit there and you go, oh, regulation is going to be shit, but I think it's pretty positive. Like there'll be some more restrictions and regulations that come along with it, but I think in general it was pretty well received. Even CZ was talking positively about it. So that when you get things like that happen, that brings legitimacy and clarity, and that's when money, TradFi money, can actually flow across into that space because the pathway's made more clear. So that was actually pretty positive, and it sort of ties in with what we're seeing around the globe at the moment, where US is obviously fighting really hard to try and restrict crypto. Other countries, with what's going on in Ukraine and the like, and the things they've had to endure over the past year or two, are seeing that maybe we need other alternative routes for pricing things in and moving funds around, and we want to be part of the innovation that's happening. We missed the innovation in the .com era, so that really focused around the US. These guys want to get ahead of the game this time in Europe and actually it's in their best interest to be more accepting of it. So yeah, it's in a nutshell, just seems to be super positive. Like they're not being draconian in the way they're doing things over there.
That's good. We need it. We need more regulation, like with what's going on with Coinbase suing the SEC because of what's happened, and then grilling Gensler, that Gary Gensler, over the state that the regulation is at the moment in the USA, and pointing their guns at crypto to blame the traditional finance deterioration. It's like, come on, bro. We need that. We need regulation, but we don't need over-regulation because that's not good for crypto either.
What's actually good to see is it's not – everyone gets very US-centric because I think a lot of the obviously a lot of the main user base and a lot of the companies to date have sort of started up in the US. You got all the big funds and everything that have really embraced it over there. You got the likes of Coinbase and whatever, which are obviously pretty massive in the industry. But it's good to see all other nations and states actually not really care what the US is doing and say, okay, we don't give a shit what they're doing. If we'll get our shit to give over here and we'll put the regulations in place. We'll open our arms up to this innovation. So I think the US is going to get left behind if they don't sort their shit out.
Well, that's a funny thing. You know, if the US government had bought Bitcoin years and years ago, that would be a huge answer to their debt problem. I mean, I know that their debt is out of control, but imagine if they were like really in early and, you know, made a killing on it. Now that's, you know, over $1 trillion market, like at least they're getting somewhere.
Yeah, so it'll be their undoing. Either they'll get left behind or they'll get left out. So, someone else had Tin Top. But yeah, he said, so Tin Top's comment, less regulation, more education. That's going on, man. We had in Australia just recently, we had to give comment on, they were doing some token mapping. So they were trying to put all of crypto in a box and they were looking at every single type of token and seeing how that slots into the existing framework. And everyone had to send in, they didn't have to, if you chose to, you could send in a submission, and I chose to send in a submission, and that was exactly what I covered. Was it's less about the regulation and more about the education. If you're serious about you want to stop people getting burnt on this stuff, then yeah, you're better off. Every dollar you spend on education will be tenfold more efficient than spending it on regulation. So teach people how to do this stuff, how to do it properly. That's what it's all about, as opposed to trying to stifle innovation with too much regulation. So I think that's you're on the money, Tim Top. Yeah, that was me just wanting to try and be a bit more active in policy and things like that. And I think that, unfortunately, I never wanted to go down that path, but I think you have to at some point.
Yeah, I also submitted something as well.
Yep.
You know, I mean, we could be part of history, really, if they, you know, bring out these new regulations in Australia, which they've put off again, typical Australian bludgers. But, you know, we have contributed to making history, so that's pretty cool. But I think we all kind of want the same thing.
Yeah. Sorry, you go for it.
I don't trust them at all.
No, well, that's why you. That's why you. Yeah, but that's why if you don't put forth something and at least make it heard, then you can't.
You've both
you can't
done
bitch
well to put something forward.
Yeah, but you can't bitch and moan if something happens and you haven't voiced an opinion. If you voice an opinion and they do the total opposite, yeah,
exactly.
Bitch and moan as much as you like, but yeah, you can't sort of sit on the sidelines and then bitch and moan if it doesn't go your way.
At least you had your 5 cents worth. Put it that way.
And I honestly think
is this the thing that is this the thing from about?
A few months ago, yeah, probably a month.
Yeah, remember free speech tagged us all in it, and he did a submission and sent it through.
Yeah, I did that as well.
Yeah, so I think we're all going to have to get more active on that, to the point where I'm not saying go out and start your own political party, but you might want to go and have a chat to your representatives.
Jexer, that might be the only course of action.
It's hard.
A crypto democratic crypto Australia. DCA.
Yeah, man,
it's a perfect name for a
DCA. Yeah, it's hard. Like there was a guy over here in WA started the Flux Party, and crypto was a big part of their remit. But man, it's just the 2-party bullshit that goes on. It is so hard to cut through all of that.
I don't think. I think that the focus needs to be on. The focus needs to be on the Senate. That's where the focus needs to be. You don't need to be. You just need to be balance of power. You need to. Do you know what I mean? Like, and the thing about the Senate is, you just like you're a state senator. Well, you're a senator, but you're like the Senate is made up of senators from every state. So I'm not sure what the rules are. Do you need to have someone in the House? Like, do you need to have a seat in the House of Representatives?
Man. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure what it is. I think you might need. I don't think you can just be. Can you just be like what's? I'm not sure how it works.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So if you've got a seat in the Senate, obviously they're all different parties. You know, you've got the Greens and blah blah blah, and they're the people that decide. They're the final people who decide the rules, laws, regulations.
They decide, whether but to go for the Senate, like to go for a seat in the upper house, do you need to have a seat in the lower house?
I don't know enough about it. I've never been interested in politics, but I think we're probably going to have some sort of.
But like there's been situations in Australia like maybe 20, 30 years, even more recently. But I remember going back in the 80s, there was one senator who had the balance of power, like an independent senator. It was an independent senator. And one guy was essentially making, like, was able to yay or nay. This person had the most power in Australia because they could basically say yay or nay to any new law. Yep. So anything that the government wanted to happen, this person had to say, we'll give the thumbs up. So, you know, the way the system works, there is always a potential that, you know, even if you only have like 1 or 2 senators, like think about this, right? Think about this, Jexer. If in Victoria, on the voting card, on the Senate, or in WA on the Senate, there was like a legit crypto option.
Yeah, that's what Flux was.
Would you not?
They were part of the federal election.
Yeah. So would you not vote for it?
I did, but what I'm saying is, it's very hard to get a majority or even a small minority to focus on that, because we are, at the moment, we form a very small percentage of the population that gives a shit about this.
No, but that's the beauty of it being the Senate, because it's it picks up the whole state.
I get Victoria. Yeah.
So this is the way I would see it. I would see it in this way, that if there was like people say, I don't know enough about it, you know, but if there was a way to, like, if a party was formed, and then, you know, come election time, especially if the party like has DeFi principles at its core, get a shout out from Richard Hart. You don't think that would, like, get a shout out from people in the crypto industry? You don't think that would make like a difference? And then at least people in crypto, a lot of people are in crypto.
Yeah, that's
true. A lot of people are in crypto.
And that's the number I don't. That's the number I don't know. I don't know what percentage of the population we find. I know it's getting bigger.
You don't need a huge. Remember, it's not like being a party preferred. Like in the state, it's like there's a number of people that need to become senators. So it's not like only the top person gets in. It's like a number of people need to get in. So,
but you know what you can
all
do?
Of the crypto people voting for, if all of the people who care about crypto were voting for the crypto senator, then crypto might actually get people who believe in DeFi principles might actually get a seat at the table to negotiate some rules.
Yeah.
And then
but there's another way of doing it. You can go to your local member of parliament and say to them, look, I'm not happy with the current regulation rules in crypto. I want something done about it. And as their member of parliament in your area, they have to take that on board as a community concern and raise it at some point in parliament. It's another way. They have to assist in some way. So every individual can go and do that. There's nothing stopping anyone.
I actually don't think that would really make any difference. Like everyone would actually have to go and lobby their member, but ultimately, like they're politicians are 2-bit whores, so they need money.
We already do have a lobbying body, which is Blockchain Australia, so that exists. But have you ever heard of them rallying everyone together?
Never heard of them.
Yeah,
never heard of them.
Yep. So that exists. That's what I'm saying. Like we're not coordinated enough, or I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but we probably need to start putting a bit.
Do you guys remember, like 8 years ago, some guy from the Motor Enthusiasts Party, had like an important seat. Like he was important. Do you remember that? Do you remember that shit?
Doesn't surprise me though.
You don't remember that guy? I just remember thinking to myself, "Had
yeah, so
well,
you can run on one policy.
There are. Guess what? In Australia, there are motor enthusiasts.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, you just got to find that one hook because you get this sheet and it's literally a meter wide. This sheet where you've got to tick all the boxes, and you can't. Like they all blend into one another. If you stand out in some way, you probably pick up a vote or two.
Yeah.
And no one knows what they're doing. All they know is he's got this big ass paper. They should have the walls with videos on them saying, a brief introduction for every candidate and what they can do for you. Because no one knows shit. That's half the problem.
Sammy, I couldn't think of anything more painful.
I know, but everyone's uneducated. Half the people in Melbourne don't even understand English. So we're going nowhere in a hurry.
Yeah. I think the only way to change, because if I think it's the hook for a crypto party is really easy. It's like don't tax crypto to crypto exchanges, right? I think that's like no, don't tax crypto to crypto exchanges. I think that would be the number one thing that everyone in crypto would want. Because it's the most ridiculous rule that's out there when it comes to taxing. Crypto to crypto changes. It's what? So you don't even you're not spending, right? But it's maths that's happening, but that's a taxable event. So it's ridiculous, right? But they're the rules. So we got to abide by them, right? But wouldn't it be great if we could actually change those rules? Like make them better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there definitely needs some thought to go into all of this, and maybe the first thing is to reach out to Blockchain Australia and see what the hell they're actually doing and how you can help.
And I know for a fact there are some wealthy hexicans that would help bankroll that shit.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I know for a fact.
Well, unfortunately, that's what it comes down to every bloody time is money wins out in the end. Like whoever can make the most noise, and unfortunately the most noise usually means the most lobbying, and the only way you get that is you've got to play the game. Unless we can come up with a way to break the game, that's the alternative. And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe crypto just gets so big that it breaks the game some way. I don't know. I've got to have a think about that one. Because if it sits outside of the TradFi, maybe it's got a hoping hell of actually making a difference. If you're not at the moment, elections are won based on the rewards, the carrots that they dangle in front of people. And if crypto gets large enough and successful enough that those carrots don't matter, is there a way you can break the system somehow? I don't know.
What do you mean?
People make decisions on who they vote in based on what carrots are dangled in front of them.
Yeah, what's best for them? What's best? Most people vote. The vote they make is the party that's going to be best for their hip pocket. Usually, it's what's going to be the best financial situation for me. Which party is going to make changes that help me financially? Yep. Usually, it's that.
So what I'm saying is, if crypto gets to the point where it's our imaginary money is so successful that no matter what the government, what carrot they dangle in front of you, that's not going to affect your decision. That's taken out of the equation because you've got another means of survival, and you can't get locked out of the finance system. You're able to generate money over here. then you're probably more freed up to be a little bit more radical in your approach and the way the decisions are made. I don't know. Just thinking how it could possibly go. No one knows.
I think we follow America in a lot of ways. So as soon as they have clear regulation over there, I think we'll adopt a very similar approach. I mean, it might be different. I might be wrong. But there's currently not enough guidance over there or over here on cryptocurrency. So we definitely need it. And, no one's going to make a change. The people are going to make that change, because if you let the government have power, they'll walk all over you.
Yeah, but that's why you're seeing the likes of Ripple actually be able to take it to a governing body, because the finance issue has been taken out of the equation for them. Because that's the way the SEC usually steamrolls people. That's what happened to Library, is they just didn't have deep enough pockets to go toe to toe with these guys. And that's the case. So they've got you financially where you're just fucked. If you fight, you end up in a worse position. But if that, like free speech is saying, once you're financially free, then that they don't hold that power over you any longer. So it just frees you up to be, I guess, a bit more aggressive in your approach and not have the fear of violence
well, look what the SEC doing. They're fear mongering. So, it's good that Coinbase is fighting back. They got a lot of money and they're taking that,
and
to the next level.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, until people have that sort of firepower, they've got to play a game of defense. But once you've got that firepower, then you can play an offensive game.
Have you guys seen this website? Fatty.io/markets. It's got
I heard a lot about it. I haven't bothered to check it out. Is it pretty cool?
Well, I've only looked at this page for the first time an hour and 50 minutes ago, as you can see here. But it's got it's basically a coin aggregator, and it's got HEX right here at number 4. 33 billion market cap.
There was another one I found, Mobula. Have you heard of that one?
.fi. Yep.
Is that what it is? .fi? I'm not sure. Yeah, I've saved it as a shortcut, so I can't see it. But that one lists HEX at number 6 as well. So since Nomics died, I had to find it. Yeah, that's the one. I had to find another coin tracking site. Yeah, that one's seems to be doing the right thing. Hopefully they stay true to their word.
So HEX is so different to everything else. It's so, because when you look at these, like you look at volumes, your 24-hour volumes, it's like that's not how HEX works. It's just not how it works.
I don't know how much of that is washed on those larger coins, but they would be you would think they would be pretty active in terms of volumes. You would think.
Yeah, I mean, what you would want to consider first, I would say, is how much people committed to this. Not in just buying it, but committed to the point of burning it, locking it. That would be the first thing that you would want to look at. And I'm not sure where it is right now. I think about 3 or 4 billion of locked value for HEX. So that is not a significant amount to be locked.
Yeah.
And
I think
I think that it really deserves its place in that top at the top.
It would be interesting.
I think it's number
see,
one, but
it'd be interesting to see market cap of gold versus daily volume. I haven't bothered to check that because that is a store of value asset. So that's probably how you should. Same with Bitcoin. If that's
it's
a store
tough
of value asset,
because how much of that does that get gamed? Because it's not really changing hands. It's just notes being passed around. It's not the gold's not actually changing hands. It's like just notes. So it's not like, with DeFi stuff where you look at it and it's like, oh, this is on stuff. And like a lot of the stuff here, can you even trust it? A lot of it, like you said, would be wash trading from centralized exchanges.
Yeah, and I don't know how much of the top coins fall under that category. I'm assuming there's a certain percentage of it, but I think lower cap coins, and I'm saying still ones in the top 100 that are on major exchanges, probably get a fair bit of wash trading, I'd imagine. So I don't think you can trust the volume is the takeaway from all of that. But maybe you need sort of like a weighted thing where it's market cap, volume, total value locked. Don't know.
If the nature of the turn is for it to be locked or slash burnt in the case of HEX, then you wouldn't expect volume be work in the same way. Like you wouldn't expect that to be like that. So there needs to be maybe different ways of working these things out. But this space it's so complex that if you're going to have a market cap, if you're going to have it based on market cap, just have it based on market cap. Then there's always
people game it, and
people are going to game it. They're going to game it. So what they're doing is they've got market cap and they've got volume as well, because volume but that doesn't work for the locked value. But I would argue that locked value is volume, but it's volume that's committed. So that's like a con. You think you could argue that?
Yeah. Actually, one thing I think Ivan on Tech's doing, which seems to be a bit of a clever way to do things, they're looking at adding other interesting things into the mix, like experienced buyers. So players that have been wallets that have been around in the industry for a while, and where are they moving their funds to and from, and things like that. So maybe you need to get a little bit more creative about the things you track. And it depends what you're tracking them for as well. Like he's tracking them to try and find the next gem, see where the volume's moving behind the scenes, where the experienced players are going behind the scenes. But I just don't think there's no easy answer for all of this. We started off with.
Did you see? Sorry, go on. So we
started off.
I thought you'd.
No, you go, mate. You go.
I was actually going to move on to finish what you were saying, man. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I guess just rounding it out is we started off with a gross metric, which is total market cap, and everyone that probably worked in the beginning, but then things got a little bit funky very quickly and just doesn't work now.
Yep. Did you guys see this? Dormant wallet holding 1,000 Bitcoin worth 27 million has been activated after 12 years.
Wow. I think I did see that actually.
So have you heard the
Satoshi era Bitcoin whale has moved 400 BTC worth and 11 million after going 12 years without a transaction. Now, I heard that or read that that's like it could be related to Mt. Gox.
Have you heard the other FUD around all of that? Could be true. I don't know.
No.
So that's not the first wallet that's been activated. I think there's been 3 of those in the last week. So there's a little bit of speculation. I don't put much trust in this, saying that maybe someone's figured out a way to crack a private key or something like that, which I think is unlikely. But yeah, I don't know what's behind it. It'll be interesting to keep an eye on it and see whether many.
Why would they only move 400? Why wouldn't they move the
lot?
Whole lot?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that's why I don't put much weight in it. But it's just been it's been interesting that 3 of these wallets that have, it could be the same person. Who knows?
Yeah.
But this person could own those 3 wallets, and that's why you're seeing that all of them get on the move.
Well, you know, Quadriga.
What's going on, Motley Investor? I got Motley Investor in the chat. What's going on?
Hey, Motley. You know, Quadriga X, a related Bitcoin wallet, was also moved in, I believe, December or January.
Yeah, I heard that. Surprise, surprise.
I know, right? There's no way.
Those death certificates in India are cheap as fuck.
No way the hell is that guy dead. No way. And a smile on his face with that whole documentary. No way. Sorry, not
I'm sure that you can buy a the whole thing in India. I'm sure.
Oh, hell yeah. You probably get a package deal. Get free face reconstruction surgery.
I need Ava to be white.
Such a joke, isn't it?
Man.
So it'd be interesting to find out who these wallets belong to, because it wouldn't surprise me if they are Mt. Gox related either, because these hacks are just rubbish bullshit.
So let's just follow that. Hang on. So this Quadriga thing. So that guy, right, fakes his death. He fakes his death in India, gets all the death certificate, like everything done. So it's all legit. The guy died, you know. And then now he has to go and get surgery to look different. So he has to get facial surgery to change his looks. And then he must have done it with his wife, right? They must have just, no?
She's totally unaware of it. But if you look at her in the system documentary, they got like smiles this wide still, and their bank accounts will be full, and they aren't saying shit.
But has his wife left Canada? If his wife has left Canada and found a new man,
That's a bit sus.
What's the bet the new man is that dude?
I don't think a person that would steal that much money from innocent people would even have a conscience or even really love his wife. He would have been in for the money from the beginning, and even though he would have paid her off, I doubt he'd go back to her. I just don't think he's got a soul. If you do that, you haven't got a soul. He ain't going back to his wife.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably not. It's all speculation. But I'm sure I'm sure that if you have enough money in India, you can buy whatever the fuck you like. You can buy anything.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you could do that in any country.
I just think it'd be easy in India compared to every other country. I feel like. I'm not talking about India. I'm just saying I think I got an idea of how things might work in India.
From a document perspective, yeah, definitely. I think there'd be a lot more palms degrees over there, you would think.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Sure, I'm sure that kind of thing would never happen in Australia.
You know what? I think it'd be really tough in Australia. It'd be tough. Where do you get the body? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's tough. You
I
need
think it'd be tougher, but I think that it's not unheard of. Oh, you're talking from the making yourself die perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. Making you've got to it's got to be legit. Like there's so many in India. Like I'm sure you can get like some country bum, like Indian, like dead person, and then somehow, like, how did the guy die? Do we even know how he died?
Yeah, he died of a stomach-related, like a Crohn's or something to do with his digestive system failure or problem. And yeah, they signed off on it, which I think is pretty easy to do in India because it's like a third world country.
And then was he buried or was he cremated?
Well, that's what they are. So on the documentary, they basically ask these questions. They want to see like proof of the body, things like that. But I don't believe it was open casket funeral. So it just leaves so many questions. And that's why people believe this guy's still alive. So did you read the comments on this Watch a Guru post about these wallets? Is any like smart whiz kid commented, it's so and so, or give any indication? Mr. Sheep.
You gotta love the memes. Yeah, I don't know if there's anyone that's done a whole lot of digging, a whole lot of speculation at the moment. But yeah, I guess watch this space and see if anything else appears over the next coming weeks. But I don't think hasn't been moved to an exchange or anything, has it? 43.
I didn't even go on chain. I didn't go to an explorer to see what's happening with it.
Yeah, so just because someone moves something doesn't mean they're going to dump it. They've held it this long. They're obviously pretty patient people.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I heard it was like potentially Mt. Gox stuff. That's what I heard or read. I think maybe I read it.
That the trustees hold.
Mt. Gox coins waiting to be going to get redistributed.
Yeah, so the trustee holds them. They're just getting set to deploy them. Actually,
I don't know.
That would probably be the thing that makes the most sense out of everything. So all these speculations, that would be the thing that makes the most sense, because if they were looking to distribute those this year, that's the kind of thing that would get on the move, I would imagine.
So, guys, is there anything else that you guys wanted to touch on tonight? Like anything about the Pulse? Oh, do you know what we didn't get from Jexer? We didn't get an idea of what you think might happen at launch. Like Sammy and I were both saying that, like, we thought that perhaps, it's sort of like a no-brainer that people who didn't have a chance to sacrifice for Pulse, but did sacrifice for PulseX, would probably want some Pulse and probably swap some of their PulseX for that Pulse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's been my theory. I think this is just Testnet, but on Testnet we've seen a 1-to-3 ratio seem to be pretty consistent so for every one Pulse you can get 3 PulseX. That seems to be where it's hovering. Whether or not that's how it plays out on mainnet will probably be completely different. But yeah, it makes sense. I mean, without talking too much to this, there's already a market where people can forward buy Pulse at about a 20x. Some people have taken that option up. So if that's any indication of what the price might do on launch, who knows?
If Pulse to PulseX is like 1 Pulse to 20, like PulseX, I don't know how long it would stay like that.
Oh, no, I'm not talking that ratio. I'm talking US dollar price on Pulse forward buying. Yeah. So, yeah, I was trying not to shill it, but someone has. So that's...
I'm not... By the way, I don't really believe in that stuff. I don't believe in it. Like, I don't know about it.
Yeah.
To me, it's... Yeah.
There's a lot of trust involved in that. So that...
I don't believe in... I think that's sort of not the whole reason why we're in crypto. There's a lot... Like, I don't get why... Yeah, it just doesn't look...
Well, there's a market. That's all. It's humans coming together to make a market. Whenever there's things like that, people will make a market for it. So
they did it with ETH as well.
Yeah.
When that launched.
All the bloody exchanges, they're the worst for doing all the essentially futures where they, before a coin gets released, they release it on their exchange as a like an IOU type thing. So that's, yeah, it's going to happen. But I guess from a point of view of what does it mean? Well, if that's what the market's accepting is around a 20x.
Can I just say what I think that is? That to me is the same as someone on the street giving me a bit of paper saying, I'm going to give you some Pulse when Pulse launches, give me money. To me, that's exactly the same shit. Like, to me.
No, well,
if I'm walking down the street and I have
exactly
$100 bucks, to me, it's like that.
Yeah, there's a bit more to it.
To me, it's like that. Like, how is any of it? How is any of it like guaranteed to happen?
It depends how you look at it. But what I feel about is I feel like I'm that like cool in teenager that's like got the new big thing, and everybody wants a piece of it.
Yeah, you're right. 43. So the danger on something like that is Pulse launches and it does 100x, and then you've got people that have said, "Yeah, I'll sell my Pulse for 20x." That's a 60x they're going to walk away from. So yeah, there's a lot of risk in it. There's a lot of trust in it. It's probably I think the guys that have done it have got they're trying to fill a need, and they probably would have done it a different way if they could have earlier. But yeah, so but that's what the market's accepting. So you wanted to say the question was, what's going to happen at launch? Well, if that's any indication, Pulse might be around a 20x. Then we could still see that flood from PulseX into Pulse if everyone thinks that's going to happen. So maybe that doesn't happen because everyone thinks it's going to happen. But that's the general consensus, is everyone thinks that is going to happen. All I know is it's whichever way it goes is going to be volatile. There's going to be opportunities made, and some people will get very lucky. Some people will end up on the wrong side of that.
It's so exciting. There's going to be so much. It's going to be chaos. There's going to be so much to look at.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be plenty to look at.
Do you think HEX will like stay where it is at the time of the fork, or do you think it's going to move once the fork happens? Do you think people will dump it for Pulse? Like people who didn't get into Pulse or PulseX sacrifice will just get the HEX and then dump it for what they want?
Pre-bridge? You mean pre-bridge?
Pre-bridge, yeah.
There will be a certain amount of people that have purchased HEX for the explicit reason of swapping it to Pulse. So they might have said, I'm going to buy $5,000 worth of HEX, and I don't give a shit about the HEX. That's just a value transfer for me to move that 5,000 into PulseX pre-bridge. There'll definitely be people that have geared up to do that, because that is one way to get value over there before everyone else does. So yeah, there'll probably be a bit of that. But if you see Pulse, and I put this out on Twitter in that little video I done. If you see PulseX rally up hard pre-bridge, and you want to move some of that to a safe harbor, you want to capture some of that. Let's say it goes up 100x, and you want to capture some of that. Where do you go? Where do you move it to? You either got to move it back into, like, play that ratio and move it back into PulseX, or play that ratio and move it back into HEX, because theoretically there's no stable coin. So where else do you go? Like, if you want to capture some of those gains, you've got to move it somewhere.
Well, I reckon we already know that the HEX is going to pump on launch. If it's pumped on Testnet news, where does that get anyone? I mean, what, they're just overzealous? It's going to launch straight away. We know Richard. We know it ain't launching RE. We already know.
I don't think that's a fair. I don't agree with that, and I'll tell you why. I'll give you my reasoning.
Sorry, I switched off for a second. What did you say first, Timmy, before 43 replies?
So we already know that HEX pumped on the news of a testnet, not once, twice, right? For no reason, because I knew that I wasn't going to launch straight away. So it's already like pumping on news of testnet. So what do we going to see on launches?
Do you think HEX is going to pump?
We're going to see a pump. We're going to see a pump, and people are actually going to buy
launches,
just to double or triple their money at launch.
Yeah, but that's too late then, though, Sammy.
Opinion.
Yeah, you double if it's already launched.
Yeah, or that. Well, they can decide if they don't get the price they want, they're still going to get a double. It's a win-win. Or if we're at 5 cents now and HEX goes to 15 cents prior to launch, that's still 3 extra money. So
I think that I anticipate that HEX will. I'm not going to say dump, but I would expect it. My expectation when they're doubling, like if you take Ethereum and you get a copy on the Pulse, and then the people on Ethereum, the people who were on Ethereum have now got this as well. I feel like there will be like it's almost as if you've got a dam on one side full of water, and you've got like an empty dam on the other side, and then you dig a trench in between the two, and the water will flow into the other one. Now that's probably not a great, just to illustrate what I think might happen, but I think that the price will go up from zero, because at the fork it will be zero. It's going to go up from there, but I think it's going to land lower than wherever it was at the time of the fork. And I also think people are going to be swapping their HEX for Pulse and PulseX. I think there will be people who will have bought HEX in the last year, since whenever, year and a half, and then we'll swap over to Pulse and PulseX. But then once those initial moves are made, I think there's going to be some degen trading happening. You know, people are going to see such volatility, and they're going to view it as opportunity for them to make it big really quickly. So I think we could see some degen stuff, and then some people doing well, but most people probably getting wrecked.
So if you see an immense amount of HEX flowing to Pulse, that means, and you are a Pulse sacker, so you're going to watch your Pulse bag rise up really quickly, and then you're going to see it relative to HEX. HEX is going to be at a bargain. You'll see money flow back that other way.
Yep.
So way too many moving parts. But so to use your dam analogy, what if the dam is full on both sides? What happens? Is there a dump?
No. It just stays the same. Or maybe a bit of a dump.
Yeah.
Little, very, 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 like not even noticeable if it's full on both sides. Because if it doesn't dump, then there might be profit takers. Do you know what I mean? Like if it doesn't dump, and then people who have HEX valued at this much on this side, and then on the other side's valued at the same, there are going to be people who take profits
on
because on ETH or Pulse. There'll be, I mean, probably on ETH, probably on ETH in that situation, but maybe not as much, like, because a 2x is not a big deal in crypto.
No,
you know.
So using your dam analogy, let's roll with that. Seems to be working. So we've got a full dam on both sides.
We're getting warnings, by the way. We've got a 5-minute warning.
Well, you have an empty dam on the PulseChain side, like ETHW would have launched the HEX on ETHW, start at 0, and then whoever was at first in best dressed on that side of the dam.
Didn't start at 0 though.
Oh well, as close as.
No, it didn't. It started with quite a significant value. So if you've got your dam full on both sides, and then so we've got Pulse side sitting over here, and people will do whatever they're going to do pre-bridge. And if your assumption is that everyone's going to sell down ETH, the HEX side, and they're going to go, where are they going to move that? Well, they're going to take that value out to ETH, USDC, wherever they choose to put it. So let's say that they sell that, but then instantly a bridge opens up and the dams are risen to the same level. Anyone that's sold out their HEX, it may get pulled back up to that same level. That's what I can see happening, but there's a lot of ifs in that.
A lot of ifs. There's probably some, but guys, we've been going for 2 hours and 17 minutes. I'm going to play a clip that I played before you guys were on, which made me laugh really, really hard. So I'm going to play it again, and then we'll sign out. Do you guys have anything you want to say before we roll the outro?
Nah, go with the outro.
Good to see everybody. Take care. See ya.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
So would you guys rather have $1 Bitcoin or $100 cash right now?
$1 Bitcoin. Wait, what?
$100 cash.
A Bitcoin?
No, $100 cash.
No, you would want a Bitcoin.
That's 1 bit of a coin.
No, but that's like so much money you're talking about.
That's so much money. That's only one.
$100 is nothing compared to a Bitcoin.
No, it's not. What are you talking about?
What are you talking
about?
about?
I would rather take that.
Are you sure you'd rather take this than a Bitcoin?
Yeah, I'm sure. That's some big bucks. That's only 1 Bitcoin.
No. There's something wrong with you.
Literally, what's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you?
Bro, I'm gonna take the cash. Like
Bitcoin.
Only a Bitcoin.
You want Bitcoin?
A singular coin.
No.
You know what a Bitcoin is, right?
Yeah, it's like 1 coin.
Yeah.
I don't know what you. I don't know. It's. Oh, you're so stupid.
What do you mean you're stupid? I'm gonna take the cash.
All right, then take it.
You're gonna be broke.
Then take
it. Cash. You're gonna have 1 Bitcoin.
We'll see you later, guys.